Hello, and welcome to my first ever live stream here on Life as a Cancer Survivor. For anyone that's joining me for the first time, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Jelena, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer in May of 2016. I went through 28 days of radiation and oral chemotherapy. Then I had surgery. It was called a lower anterior resection, also known as LAR surgery. And during that surgery, I had 12 inches of my colon/rectum removed, plus 17 lymph nodes. During that surgery, that was when I had my ileostomy created, because where they sew the colon and rectum together, there's a decent chance of that leaking right away after surgery. So they typically will give you an ileostomy to make sure that that heals properly before they allow waste to go through your digestive system again. And so the ileostomy, it's where part of your small intestine is run out of your abdominal wall and your waste exits your body there instead of out of your rear end. And you wear a bag over that stoma, which is created when the small intestine is run out of you, so that you're not spewing waste all over the place. Now, I had that ileostomy for 7 months, which included while I went through 8 rounds of IV chemotherapy called Folfox, and on June 5th, 2017, I had that ileostomy reversed. So on Friday, I talked all about that reversal, things that I did to prepare for it, and kind of how that initial first couple of weeks actually went and kind of what to expect. So today I'm going to be talking more about that and then answering any questions that you have at all about the ileostomy reversal surgery, or just anything colorectal cancer related. So if you have any questions, go on ahead, pop over in the chat and type them in now so that I can answer them for you. I'll be here for about an hour. We'll see how many questions and stuff I get. Maybe it'll only be a half hour. So go on and type in those questions and let's get started here. Okay, so first up, let me answer a question that somebody had asked me before in the comments. They wanted to know if I had my rectum still and how much of it I did. And that's a great question, because how much of your rectum that you have remaining after that lower anterior resection, that can really determine how well or not so great that you do after you have your ileostomy reversed. Because the rectum, it's what holds your waste before it's let out. So the smaller that reservoir is, the more difficult your transition from having the ileostomy to having it reversed can be. So I'm not sure exactly how much of my rectum that I still have. I know I still have a decent amount of it. All I know is that they took out 12 inches of colon and rectum during my surgery, but I don't know what the breakdown of what exactly it is. So I'm guessing that I have about half of that left. Let's see here. Also, next question. How much did those first 2 weeks suck after that reversal surgery? Well, it wasn't really all that awesome, of course. Everyone told me, I read a lot of things about what to expect. I knew to expect those first couple weeks were going to be miserable. My butt was going to feel like it was on fire all the time. And I tried to mentally prepare myself for that. I tried to have plenty of supplies on hand that would help me cope with that. Like I went to the hospital with diaper rash cream. I went with some adult diapers to prepare for having any accidents right after that reversal surgery. And I had soft toilet paper on hand at home once I came home. But nothing can really prepare your rear end for the amount of action that it's going to be getting after that reversal surgery. And I would just try to stay on top of keeping diaper rash cream on my butt all the time. If you are using some, make sure that you're protecting your underwear when you wear that diaper rash cream, because it will stain them. So I wore 1 or 2 of the adult diapers, but they were a little excessive for what I really needed them for. I only had like small leaks because at the beginning, a lot of the waste that I was passing, it was diarrhea. It was very liquidy. And it's hard even for someone whose sphincter muscles are used to having to hold things in. It's hard for them to be able to hold liquid in. So for someone who hadn't used those muscles for like 7 months, it's really difficult to hold in any liquid. So I would just have small leaks. So just a pad would be good enough. I'd just move it so that it was more towards the back end of my underwear, and that would cover both catching any leaks, and then also it would cover making sure that the diaper rash cream didn't ruin my underwear at all. As I had mentioned in my video too, it felt like when I would stand up that all of my waste, it would just rush out of me. So I wasn't quite sure why. I mean, I didn't know why I was feeling that way. So when I looked at some anatomy pictures and then what happens during your lower anterior resection, then it started to make a little more sense why I felt that way. So let me kind of show you here on myself. I don't know, I can't remember which. Okay, so your colon, it goes around and it has a spot where it goes across and then it goes down, and the down part is where your rectum is. So when they cut part of this out, then the side, it kind of just gets drug and it's going straight down to the rectum. So there's not kind of that part that's parallel to the ground anymore to kind of slow things down. So that was why it felt like everything was just rushing straight down. So that kind of made sense because the colon, it wasn't used to having to digest everything, and things were just sliding straight through, and there wasn't that parallel point to kind of slow things down. So that helped me understand a little more why I felt that way. There wasn't really any solution to that rushing feeling other than just being patient, taking my time, and just kind of impatiently waiting on the couch for things to kind of slow down. As I mentioned, I spent a lot of time just sitting on the couch because that was kind of the only place where I could hang out and not really have to stand up and feel that rushing feeling. Let's see here. Okay, so we've got some questions in here. Let's see. Hello, Marvin. Thank you for the question. So your question, you just received Xylota for stomach cancer. Can we take these pills in 2 with every meal? The doctor recommended 4 at a time, twice a day. So I definitely take the doctor recommended amount. I found that when I was taking Xylota, it worked better if I waited about a half hour after my meal before I took the pills, because taking them right with the food, it somehow made them get absorbed faster, and it would make me a little nauseous when I took them right with the meal. So once I started waiting about a half hour or so after the meal to take those pills, I didn't experience the nausea that I did at the beginning. And I see also Blue Omega. Hello, I see you there. Glad to see you could join us today for this chat. Let's see, what else do we have here? Another question is, how soon after your reversal surgery did you travel? So that's kind of a question. A lot of people want to know, like, how much is this surgery really going to disturb your life, your quality of life? When can you get back into being your old self? So I had my reversal surgery, I mentioned June 5th. So 6 weeks after that reversal surgery, I took a 2.5-hour plane ride to visit my in-laws for the week. So I made sure that I had plenty of supplies with me. I mentioned in my video that I was taking psyllium husk and Imodium. I had plenty of that with me, of course, on the carry-on on my plane. I took a couple extra pair of underwear on the carry-on as well, in case I had any accidents. I was prepared. I may have even put an extra pair of pants in that carry-on bag as well. But I didn't need any of those. I survived it okay. I did have to use the bathroom at least once or twice on the plane. But I was kind of used to going to the bathroom on the plane, so that didn't bother me much at all. I did spend a lot of time in the bathroom while we were there, but it wasn't so much. I could still, see people. It was just when I would go to the bathroom, by that time, it was probably like 5 or 6 times a day, but I wasn't in and out quickly. It took a while for me, and it still takes a while for me to empty out my bowels. So I kind of go a little bit and then wait 10 or 15 minutes on the toilet, and then kind of another wave of waste comes out as well. So I tried to kind of go quickly at first and just like let that first wave come out and then hop off the toilet and get back to my thing. But then I quickly realized that 10 to 15 minutes after I left the bathroom, I would have to go again. So I guess it's kind of up to you. I just decided that I was just going to wait it out on the toilet and just hang out in there until the second wave came. And sometimes there's a third or fourth wave as well. It usually, I don't think I'm ever on the toilet for more than about a half hour at a time. If you spend much more than that, then your legs and your feet start to fall asleep. So even if like another wave or two is coming, for me, it's helpful to just like get up, finish, go wash my hands, and walk around a little bit to get the feeling back in my legs before having to go back and sit on the toilet again. That wasn't the only trip that I took after my reversal surgery as well. I live in Colorado, and my family is all around the States. So we visited my in-laws. Then 3 months after my reversal surgery, I flew about 3 hours to visit my parents for the weekend. That same kind of thing, just made sure to bring plenty of those clogging medications in case I felt like I had to go to the bathroom a lot. And then took the extra underwear with me on the plane. But again, I didn't need them. But it was nice knowing that I had that crutch there with me, just in case. So that went fine. And then 5 months after my reversal surgery, in November, we took a week-long vacation down to Belize. So that was a little more challenging. I definitely took all the supplies that I needed because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get those while we were in a different country. So I was pretty good for the first 3/4 of the vacation. Then once we got to the end, of course we want to eat. You want to eat, to spoil yourself. So we were eating at breakfast. I forget what they were called, but it was some kind of like fried bread that they had every morning at breakfast. It was kind of like their version of toast with your eggs here in the States. So we were eating that every morning because it was super delicious. I mean, fried food tastes delicious, but my bowels were not very happy after a couple of days in a row of that. And by the last day or two, I was having a decent amount of like some stomach cramping. Fry Jacks. Thank you. My husband reminded me. Fry Jacks is what they were called. So I was having to go to the bathroom a lot those last 2 days or so. And before going out there, I had experimented a little with drinking some kombucha to kind of settle things down a little, like when I would get stomach cramping and stuff. And that had helped me at home. And we somehow lucked out, and in this little town that we were staying in, there was this like hippie coffee shop, and they actually sold shots of kombucha. So we went to this little shop, and I just got a couple of little shots of kombucha, and that helped alleviate the cramping that I was getting. I was still going to the bathroom a little more than I wanted to be for the last 2 days of vacation, but I wasn't feeling as miserable. So that was kind of my own savior. So as you're going through the reversal surgery, you want to kind of just, or afterwards, you want to see just what works for you and kind of keep those tools in your back pocket. And sometimes it's probably going to be multiple things. For me, those tools, always having Imodium on hand, the kombucha is a helpful thing. Trying to get some exercise, getting out and walking is helpful for me. Knowing like what kind of foods either speed things up or slow things down is helpful as well. So you can kind of adjust your diet to help with controlling your bowels a little bit more. Now, I don't like following a super strict diet. I like to just kind of eat whatever. Sometimes it's super healthy stuff. Other times, not quite as healthy. So I try to kind of watch and kind of track and keep in mind like what I'm going to be eating for the next few days. Like, okay, I'm going to be having lentils and beans this day. I need to have something that's not quite so fibery and that's not going to run through me as quickly. Like maybe do some nice baked mac and cheese the next day to kind of round things out so I'm not kind of stressing my system too bad. Let's see. Okay, so we've got another question here. Are there any foods that I have to completely avoid nowadays? I don't have any foods that I completely avoid. There are some things that I make sure to not eat a ton of, like I just mentioned, like a meal that's like solely lentils. As I've mentioned in a previous video, I'm vegetarian. So I ate a lot of lentils and beans and things like that. That was a part of my diet before colorectal cancer. And I wanted to try and keep that going after my diagnosis and after going through the reversal surgery because it had been working for me. It kept me healthy and kept me strong. So the lentils, like lentil sloppy joes that we'll make, I can't have those for more than one day in a row because the whole meal is based on that. But like for the 4th of July, we made some vegetarian burgers and had that, and we made corn on the cob, and I had corn on the cob 2 days in a row, and things were fine. I did start to see some of those corn kernels showing up in the toilet 2 days later, so more than 2 days, and I probably would have seen a lot more of that. I do try to eat my foods a little slower now and try to chew them up more, so then they're just not like shooting straight out of me the way that they went in. I used to be a really slow eater, and then once I had my daughter, she, with a baby, you've got to eat fast and eat when you can. So I kind of mastered the art of eating quickly. And so I kind of needed to retrain myself to not eat quickly anymore post-reversal so that things don't just start shooting out of me anymore. And it also helps my digestive system too, because it's still not completely back to normal, and it could use that extra little help from my mouth chewing everything up well so that it can digest everything that it needs a little bit better. Let me take a little drink here. While I'm taking a drink, let me ask where everybody is from. If you're from the States, let me know what state that you live in. If you're out of the United States, let me know what country you're from so I can kind of see where everybody is watching me from here. All right, we've got Texas. Hi, Texas. Welcome. Let's see, I've got, the UK. Awesome. Nice to have you here. California. I hope you're staying safe out there in California. We have been getting some of your smoke out here in Colorado, and then we've got some fires out here too. We've got Ohio here. Hello, Ohio. Do I get a loud rumbling stomach after eating? Can't really pinpoint the specific food. It's just really loud. Let me see here. I'm trying to think if I do get any crazy rumbling after eating. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any specific foods as well that might cause the rumbling. It could just be that whenever I eat something that's a little tougher to digest. For me, I'm trying to think. I haven't experienced that too much. Let's see. Another question that a thing that I thought about afterwards, which is something that really affects me, and I didn't mention, in my video is, did your gas change after your reversal? So my gas changing was actually one of my very first symptoms that I had cancer. Before I saw any blood or anything, there was that change in gas for a couple of months that I tried to fix and it didn't help. So, gas never smells good, but everyone kind of, what your gas smells like. So there was definitely a change in it. Then obviously, while I had my ileostomy, you do still pass a little mucus, but I never passed any gas while I had that ileostomy. So then once it was reversed, I have noticed that my gas, it's a lot more pungent now and it's more frequent. It's a lot harder to kind of hold it in or contain it. So if like you're in a public situation, it's a lot harder to really keep it in. I can make sure that I release it quietly most of the time, but holding it in is a lot more difficult nowadays. So it does, to me, it smells a lot more pungent now. My husband likes to call them surgically enhanced farts because, well, I had surgery through my digestive system. So I suppose that's an accurate description. They definitely can clear a room sometimes. And this morning, I think, because of I was a little nervous about doing this live stream because this is my first one, so I wasn't sure how exactly it would go. So I think the nervousness, I had some nervous gas this morning and it just would not stop and it was pretty smelly. But it has calmed down today, so I am thankful that has calmed down for now. I'm sure my husband is pretty happy about that as well. Let's see. So, what else do we have here in the questions? If you're just joining us, and we have some new people in here, my name is Jelena, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer in May of 2016. And I had an ileostomy for 7 months as part of my cancer treatment, and it was reversed on June 5th, 2017. So in this live video, I'm taking questions about my ileostomy reversal surgery and any other colorectal cancer related questions that you might have. So go on ahead and type those in the chat if you've got any questions, or if you just got any comments as well that you want to drop in there. I'm happy to see we've got some people in here. We've got some excited people saying hi, dropping in where they're from, and asking me some questions too. So let's see. Oh, and we've got Brett here's from Columbus, Ohio. Awesome. So we've got people from quite a few different places. And I've got a question from Brianna. Let's see. Thank you for posting these videos. You're so welcome. You're learning more information for your mom, who was just diagnosed with colorectal cancer. I'm so sorry about your mom. It's tough hearing that a loved one has cancer. I mean, it was tough for me finding out that I had colorectal cancer, but I know caregivers and loved ones go through a really difficult time as well. Because as the cancer patient, you're just kind of following what the doctor is telling you that you need to do to treat yourself, and you're doing what you can to make it through treatment. And it's got to be rough as a caregiver and family member to just kind of see someone that you love going through these difficult times. So sending you all kinds of love and strength as you're going through this, and as you're helping your mom through this. I'm sure she's really appreciating that you are watching these videos and trying to learn a little bit more about it as well. And hopefully you'll understand a little bit better what she's going through and can empathize with her even more about some of these things, and maybe even know about some side effects that she's going to be feeling before she even experiences them. Let's see. So Gold Dalek, who? So I believe I hope that's how you pronounce your name. So you've laid off the beans and broccoli to limit your gas since the reversal. And so that's minimized you having to blame it on the dog. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I did see a GI doctor a year ago, and she recommended to try and help with the gas part. Yes, laying off the cruciferous vegetables like the broccoli, cauliflower, those types of things. So that does help. And yeah, it's kind of a game of just trying to figure out what works for you. What works for me may not work for another person, or what works for another person could help me. But it's helpful that we all kind of talk about this a little bit and we discuss the things that work for us, so then other people can try those and maybe that doesn't work for us, but it gives us new ideas about, oh, well, this person, they were trying that, but maybe I'll take that and I can, pivot that a little bit, and this will be something that works for me instead. So that's great, figuring out what is working for you. Let's see. So in the overall spectrum of LAR syndrome, also known as LARS, many people call that the lower anterior resection syndrome. That's what kind of the troubles after having your reversal surgery. That's what it's called, is LARS. So what are some of the stories from your online community of symptoms that I don't experience, or maybe that others experience more severely? So others, I'd say just having to go to the bathroom a lot and not being able to control like the consistency of it and get it looking like a normal stool, no matter how many medications, no matter how much you try to limit your diet, regulate it, try to eat low fiber things. Those are some of the troubles that people have. No matter what they do, they're still experiencing having to go to the bathroom 10, 15, 20 times a day, can't even control it, or still having accidents frequently. So those are some of the downsides that some people can have following their lower anterior resection and having that ileostomy reversed. And it's something that even like the surgeons and doctors have a hard time like wrapping their heads around and trying to help you figure it out. As I had mentioned in my video, my surgeon, he just told me to go home and eat whatever. So in a perfect world, that would have been fantastic, but my body rejected that completely. So, and when I talked to him about how much I was going, he was like, okay, take this, take that. And since your surgical site has healed well, I'm done with you. So goodbye. And so the surgeon, he was great with, reconnecting everything. I didn't have any complications at all during any of my surgeries, but he was trained in colorectal cancer surgeries, not in nutrition and diet and how to treat those symptoms afterwards. So I don't necessarily blame him for not wanting to help more, but kind of seeking out some additional professional help to get you through this. I sought out a gastroenterologist, and she specifically specializes in colorectal cancer patients and women's digestive issues. So when I saw that, I was like, this is the doctor for me. This is who I need to see. So she is the one that has kind of helped me get a little bit even more control over everything and kind of regulate things even more. Let's see. So Blue Omega wants to know, what would you say is the most noticeable change post-treatment compared to pre-treatment? I will say, I'll address this just to like the reversal and bowel things that are happening. So I would say the most noticeable change that I'm having post-treatment is the frequency of the number of bowel movements that I have. It would usually just be like one a day, and that was it. And I would go once and that's it. Now I'm going more times a day. On good days, it's maybe only like 2 to 3 times. On bad days, it might be like 5 or 6 times. And I have to take medication daily to make sure that I'm only going those 2 to 3 times or 5, 6 times. Whereas before, I never took anything to help regulate my digestive system. So having to take Imodium and the psyllium husk daily is a huge change for me. Before cancer, I didn't really take any medications other than vitamin D because my vitamin D levels were low. So now I feel like I'm a much older person because I've got the medications that I have to take in the morning, I've got stuff I have to take at night, and I've got to take my pills with me everywhere, and I've got my little pill container. It's got the Monday, Sunday through Saturday in there, and I pop them in every week so that I've got everything all sorted out. Let's see. So Samuel Wiseman wants to know if I'm still taking Imodium. Yes, I am. I still take it twice a day. My current routine to help keep my bowels under control, when I wake up in the morning, as long as it's after 6 a.m., I take 2 teaspoons of psyllium husk mixed with a small like juice glass. I'll fill it like halfway with water and the other half with juice because the psyllium husk doesn't taste very good, just plain, but I don't want to drink a ton of juice. So I do the mixture, and a little bit of apple juice cuts the taste enough. So I take that, then I wait 2 hours, and I take 1 Imodium. And then in the evening, after I eat dinner, I take another Imodium. So I occasionally will skip the evening Imodium if I notice that I'm starting to get a little bit constipated. Like yesterday, I actually was struggling to pass any bowel movements. So I was like, okay, we're having a high fiber dinner tonight, and I will skip the Imodium for just tonight to see how things go. So maybe that also was part of the reason why I had some bad gas earlier today too, because I didn't have that second Imodium with me. And you also wanted to know how long from the surgery until my bowel movements got better. So I would say it was about a week, little over a week, when I changed from just eating whatever to a low residue diet. So I was eating like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on white bread, white pasta with white garlic bread, avoiding like raw vegetables. And then I think I was even eating just like canned fruit, not raw fruit. So once I started eating that way, things started slowing down. And then the week after that, so 2 weeks after my surgery, my surgeon was like, no, don't do that. Eat your normal food. And then he put me on the Imodium and the psyllium husk or Metamucil. And that's when I really saw a big change in how often I was going and the consistency of my bowel movements. Once I started taking those medications, then it looked much more normal. So it took about 2 weeks, and it was just because I was taking those medications. Initially, my surgeon didn't want me taking any medications for a month after my reversal surgery. And after those first few days of pretty much going to the bathroom constantly and my butt being on fire, the thought of having to wait a month before I could take any medications to regulate that, it seemed like it was going to be misery. That month was going to take forever. So I was really excited when after 2 weeks he okayed me to start taking those, so then I could get back to trying to eat my regular diet and then using those to help regulate things. Let's see. Brett wants to know, how long did it take to get rid of the butt burn? So that is a good question. I'm trying to think. So after things started slowing down a little bit, but still, like, after those 2 weeks, I didn't mention this in my reversal video. But for any moms out there or dads that are really in tune with what your wife did after she gave birth, if you do a vaginal birth, they give you what's called a sitz bath. So it's this plastic thing, and it sits on top of the toilet, and there's a hose that connects to a bag that you can fill with warm water, and you sit in that little tub, and just part of your butt is in it. And so you can mix in like some sitz bath solution, or you can just use warm water to just kind of rinse things out and to soothe your butt. So probably a year before I was diagnosed with cancer, I was like, I don't need this bath anymore. I'm not going to have any more kids. I don't need it. So I got rid of it. I recycled it. Well, I kind of regretted that, and we ended up ordering one off of Amazon to get it here. But I found out that even though I really wanted to sit on that to help soothe my butt, because I was still going so much, that feeling, like the water, it had that cooling feeling, but it made me feel like I had to go to the bathroom. So I could only really sit in the sitz bath to cool my butt off for maybe like 5 minutes before I was like, I'm going to explode. I've got to go to the bathroom and get the sitz bath off of the toilet. So then it was my butt probably started the healing process about 2 weeks after surgery. And it took about a week of regular bowel movements that weren't like diarrhea for my butt to really heal up and feel back to normal. Let's see here. All right. Joyce wants to know, how has my lifestyle changed since the surgery? Well, that's a good question. I have tried to get back to pretty much everything that I loved and enjoyed before my cancer diagnosis. So initially I was really afraid about doing things. But since I kind of have a system down now and I'm more comfortable with knowing like when I'm going to need to use the bathroom, how things that I'm eating or taking are going to affect my bathroom visits, basically, the only things that change now, I still, even to this day, I bring an extra pair of underwear with me anytime I am traveling to make sure that I'm covered in case an accident happens. What else has changed? I'm taking more medications to regulate everything. But I loved to run before, we hiked, we traveled. I'm doing all of those things again. Running, it's a little more difficult now because I was getting injured a lot initially. And I'll talk about this in a future video about my struggles with getting hurt. But I'll touch on it briefly right now. So because I had multiple abdominal surgeries, your abdomen or your core, those muscles are what protect your lower back from getting injured. So since I had an incision straight down there, the muscles were wrecked, so I didn't have that core protecting my back muscles anymore. And I didn't realize how much work that I really needed to put into like strengthening my abs again. So I just went back to running, and I kept hurting my back over and over and over again. So I've been dealing with injuries more from the surgeries, not necessarily not from the reversal surgery necessarily, but everything else. So I've really tried to get back and not let the fear of having to go to the bathroom multiple times kind of get in the way. Hiking, I make sure we've got like a full roll of toilet paper so that if I have to go to the bathroom many times, we're prepared and have lots of hand sanitizer with me. So just minor lifestyle changes, I would say. Okay, let's see here. Let me look in the chat here. Let's see. Oh, Goldalic works for some, works for others. You were on 48 ammonium tablets a day. Oh my goodness, to try to stop the high output from your stoma. Wow. and the other person was on 12. Yeah, so 48 is crazy. It's been more and more difficult lately to get your hands on Imodium, at least in the States, because it is used by people that are addicted to opiates. If you take a ton, people use the Imodium to help the withdrawal symptoms, but you have to take a whole lot. So now Imodium is regulated here. So you can only buy 24 tablets at a time in a box, and they're all in that individual blister packages. So I didn't ever have the tingling neuropathy in my fingers, but my fingers are not as strong as they used to be, and I cannot tear those little blister packs open. So I always have to have scissors to cut it open, and it's a pain now having to cut those open. Being able to buy like a bottle of 72 was really handy. So getting a hold of that many is not as easy. And so every time my husband goes to the store, I have him buy me a box so that I've got enough, because those, if I'm taking 2 a day and there's only 24, that really only lasts me like a week and a half, that box. Let's see. Oh, so Brett says that his surgery is slated for October 14th, and you're a little nervous. So any suggestions? Yes, I would definitely get some kind of diaper rash cream for your butt. One thing that I wish that I would have done earlier, and I heard from others that it was kind of a good thing, that didn't really realize how awesome it was until I tried it myself, is a bidet. So I had never used one. I had been in Europe like 15 years ago and had seen them and had no idea how they worked. So I had never tried one. And then last year when I went to the new GI doctor that I was talking about, they had a bidet in the waiting room. And so I was like, oh, you know you're at a good GI doctor when they've got like the heated seat and fancy bidet in there. So I tried it out, and they had instructions on there because obviously people are in there a lot that aren't used to using it. So I used it once, and I was hooked. I was like, I came home and told my husband, that is what I want for Christmas. I want this bidet. It was fantastic. So other people had mentioned a bidet. So I would highly recommend one, because that'll help. Your butt will probably still burn, but it will minimize the amount of rubbing that you're going to be doing on your butt afterwards. So I wish I would have gotten one much sooner. There's cheaper ones where you just have like the little sprayer that you can just attach easily to your toilet. And we actually had one of those when my daughter was a baby, because we cloth diapered. So I used the sprayer to spray down her diapers. But that just gives you the cold water. So that might be a little bit of a shock, especially if you're in Columbus. It's going to be getting cold, so you probably don't want cold water spraying on your butt. If you, maybe an early Christmas present would be a nice bidet that's got the water warmer. So then that'll help clean you up much easier. Just be prepared to be going to the bathroom a lot. I think those are probably my biggest suggestions for that. Let's see here. What other questions do we have here? Daniel, can just doing chemotherapy work? Oh, you've got stage 4 cancer. Do you mean can just doing chemotherapy work to get rid of your cancer? Let me know in the chat there. So I'll get back to that question. Gold Dalek, you've got to go cook dinner. Great to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Samuel wants to know, can I eat outside the house without worrying about the rush or any accidents? Yes, I typically can. And for most people, it takes about at least a half hour before things start going through. And for me, I'm typically good for at least a few hours. So I'm fine going out to eat and then going out and doing something else afterwards. Especially if I take the Imodium with me, now that I know I'm doing it in the morning and the evening, that really helps with eating out, to make sure that I don't have to rush to the bathroom soon after. Let's see, we also have in here, do you still get that annoying bowel pressure feeling every time you have to use the restroom post-surgery? Let's see. Most of the sensation that I get now, and actually it's pretty normal. I am at the point now that whenever I feel like I've got to pass a bowel movement, that sensation is just how it was prior to my diagnosis. I'll get it more frequently sometimes, and occasionally it will be more urgent and I won't be able to hold it for as long. But I don't have severe pressure every time that I need to use the restroom. Okay, so Daniel replied back, yeah, your oncologist just wants to do chemotherapy, but no surgery. I would say for stage 4 patients, your treatment plan is not as cut and dry as it was for me. At stage 3, it's pretty by the book. There's a pretty standard regimen of care that you go through. So stage 4, there's a lot more options. It's not as cut and dry. So if you are unsure about whether or not your doctor is doing the best or has access to the best treatments available, don't hesitate to go out and get a second opinion from another oncologist at a different hospital, in the town that you live in, or you can travel to see and get a second opinion elsewhere. But if you're nervous and afraid that what he's doing or what your doctor is doing isn't enough, I would definitely recommend getting a second opinion. And maybe that second opinion is going to be the exact same thing, but then you'll feel more confident in your current oncologist's plan. And maybe the plan is they really want to get rid of more of the cancer before surgery can even become an option for you. So that would be my recommendation for you. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know what your situation is and where your cancer has spread to, so I can't make a medical recommendation on whether or not chemotherapy is really going to be enough. So I would say, yeah, check in and get a second opinion. It never hurts, and it's good to kind of see what's out there, what treatment options could be available. So we've got a few more minutes. If you're just logging in and joining us, again, my name is Jelena. I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer in May 2016, and I had an ileostomy during part of my treatment for 7 months and got that reversed on June 5th, 2017. So in this chat, we're talking about my ileostomy reversal surgery, questions that you might have about it, and any other colorectal cancer related questions. So if you've got any additional questions, go on ahead and hop on in, drop them in there. And Z, hi, good to see you in there. I was wondering if you were going to hop in. Glad to see you were able to join. And let's see here. I think I had a couple other questions that were in there that I've answered. So I think I've hit everything in the chat. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I'm glad so many of you have showed up. I hope that this has really been helpful for you. Oh, that's okay. You're here. That's all that counts. I hope your brother is doing well. And you're welcome, Brett. I'm so glad that you're able to come in and join us here. Let's see here. I am out of the questions that I have. I will be posting this live stream to my channel shortly after this live stream ends. So if you happen to come in late, or if you want to go back and watch any of it, if you missed any of it, I'll have it up. I'm not sure how long it takes for me to get up since this is my first live stream, so it'll definitely be up by tomorrow, so watch for that. And thank you all for coming in here to join me. Make sure that if you haven't subscribed, that you have clicked on the subscribe button so that you'll be notified when my next videos are coming up and when my next live streams are happening. I'll try and do this I publish my videos every other week. So on the weeks that I'm not publishing a video, I'd like to get on and kind of just chat with you guys, be able to answer questions about that previous video if there's stuff that maybe is a little, it's gonna take a little more than a couple of sentences to answer, or you just want to drop in the chat and say hi. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you'll be notified when all of those happen. And let's see here. I think we've got all of the questions. Let's see. You know what? We had a couple new people pop in. So if you can drop in there where you're from, if you're in the States, what state you're in, or what country that you're in, if you're outside of the US. Hope everyone has enjoyed this so far. Let's see. I need another quick drink here. Okay, so I'm so happy that so many of you were able to come in and join me for this. It's been awesome. Oh, we've got another person from California. I hope you're staying safe also, and that the smoke is not, or the fires aren't encroaching on you too much, and you're staying safe and healthy. Let's see, I think that is about all that I've got here. So I just want to let you know, you guys had some great questions. So thank you for coming in and asking all these wonderful questions. As I mentioned, make sure that you have subscribed, and then make sure you click on the bell too, so that you'll be notified when all of those things are happening. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in about 2 weeks, and there'll be a new video next Friday. So thank you so much, stay safe, and I will see you guys later.